Every so often, a film comes out that has the world united. Black, white, Hispanic, whoever you are, the consensus was the same. War of the Worlds is dog shit. During its initial release, the film had a uniquely dismal Rotten Tomatoes score of 0%, something that only 44 films have managed, with more than 20 reviews. However, since then, the film's rating has soared to the lofty heights of 3%. Despite this, I was still fascinated to see what the buzz was all about. Could it really be that bad? Are people overhyping this? Well, there was only one way to find out. So finally, I sat down and watched it. And yep, it's something. So in today's video, I'm going to be discussing why War of the Worlds has had everyone talking, and not for the right reasons. And just for a heads up, this discussion will include major spoilers. So, as the name suggests, War of the Worlds is a loose adaptation of the 1898 novel by H.G. Wells. A lot of people will have seen Tom Cruise's 2005 adaptation, which I do think is a bit underrated. However, this version is told in a very different way, with it using a screen-like form of visual storytelling, where the entire film is presented using various forms of screen, with the main one being the protagonist's desktop computer. It's a gimmicky way of presenting your story, but it can be done well, with 2018 searching using this format so effectively. In the lead role, we've got Ice Cube, playing Will Radford, a DHS officer working for a surveillance program, who has to deal with the threat of an alien invasion. He's never been the greatest actor in the world, but I have been a fan of a lot of Ice Cube's work, particularly when used in comedies. Considering the character's background, you'd think that this would be a very different role for Ice Cube, and it really should be, for the character to feel authentic. But for some reason, Ice Cube is once again playing a version of himself, which is not fitting for this type of role whatsoever. He uses all of the typical Ice Cube mannerisms that we've come to expect over the years, and it doesn't work at all in this instance. Going into my viewing of War of the Worlds, my main concern wasn't that it was going to be bad, as I fully expected that, but that it would be so painfully dull that I didn't have the energy or desire to even speak about it. But near enough straight away, I knew that this wasn't going to be an issue, as 3 minutes and 23 seconds in, I was already cackling with laughter, and unfortunately, it's all down to Ice Cube's performance. You've got cataclysmic worldwide weather events happening, and his reaction to it is so hilariously uninfused that I could not stop laughing.
All of NASA's satellites are blind. We haven't been able to see anything for 2 days. Can't figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I got bigger fish to fry than watching clouds.
Either the character bizarrely doesn't care about what's going on, or Ice Cube is just struggling to convey even a remote level of interest in the situation. And based on his performance in the rest of the film, I'm going to assume it's the latter. Whilst the actor is given very little to work with in this role, Ice Cube is undoubtedly the worst part of the film, which is some achievement. He's given a lot of responsibility in this role. He's got the vast majority of the screen time, but at almost every single moment, his performance falls comically flat. There's this weird dichotomy in his performance, where at times, he barely seems engaged, as though he's not even trying.
Hey! It's near our house!
And then at other times, he's going so over the top that I was cringing just watching him.
No! No!
Honestly, watching his reactions to all the crazy shit going on kinda made the film watchable, like it was hilarious, although it definitely wasn't meant to be. Clearly, he's better than what we see here, but even if he wasn't phoning in his performance, what were the casting directors thinking in hiring him for the role? Because he's a terrible fit. I've got to assume it's just because he's a big name. Although in fairness to the film, it's actually got quite a good cast. Lots of talented actors, like Eva Longoria, Clark Gregg, and Michael O'Neill. They're so much better than this. Don't get me wrong, I get that they're working actors, and the film likely didn't require them to be on set for too long, but even still, being attached to a film like this does no good for your career, and they should have realised that this was going to be a failure as soon as they read the script, because my god, what on earth was that? There are so many issues with the script, like it's truly laughable. The dialogue is outrageously bad. There are so many times where I kept thinking, who would write this shit? Did they get screenwriting tips from Tommy Wiseau? Because it genuinely feels the room level at times, which is certainly not a compliment.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
You can't take this film seriously, even for a second, as if you do, it instantly falls apart. Thankfully, I was able to see the funny side to the inept filmmaking on show, which made the film a lot more entertaining than it had any right being. It's hilariously bad, and I do mean hilariously, as I laugh frequently, and I laughed hard, all the way through it. Obviously, nothing I'm laughing at is intentionally funny, but it still made the film a much more enjoyable experience. I mean, just the way they incorporate the title, War of the Worlds, is chef's kiss.
I see no other option to initiate this War of the Worlds to save us all.
And Ice Cube giving it a little clap for absolutely no reason makes it even better. Narratively, the film does attempt some interesting things, but none of it is executed particularly well. A major theme of the film relates to privacy, and how the government has gone too far in its surveillance of the population in the hope that it'll keep people safe. But it doesn't tackle it with any sort of nuance or bring anything new to the table. One of the film's subplots involves a hacking group uncovering a mass surveillance system used by the government, with Ice Cube's character desperate to uncover the identity of this group's lead member, known as the Disruptor. It's revealed that it's in fact Will's own son who's leading this hacking group, which is meant to be some sort of mind-blowing reveal, but it's entirely predictable and ridiculous. Honestly, I rolled my eyes so much, I'm surprised I didn't get facial cramps. The film attempts to tug at the heartstrings a few times, and they fall completely flat at every occasion. However, one moment that almost worked for me was when all the data starts getting deleted, including pictures and voice notes of Will's late wife. This is something that we all take for granted, that it won't happen, but if a chain of events did lead to this happening in real life, it would have devastating consequences. It didn't impact me emotionally, but it was a nice idea that could have been effective if used in a better film, so I'll give them a little bit of credit for that. However, something I cannot give them credit for is the pacing, because the film is so rushed that literally nothing is given time to breathe, where you can feel the weight of what's going on. It's just non-stop. So much happens, far too much, especially when you consider the film clocks in at around an hour and 22 minutes. But it also had me questioning the mechanics of the plot. Like, the entirety of this film seems to occur over the course of just a few hours. It's ridiculous. Like, I thought 24 was able to cram a lot into just one day, but War of the Worlds takes it to a new level. You've got an alien invasion, the world going to war with the aliens, then figuring out how to defeat them, and actually pulling it off in just a handful of hours. Like, what? It makes zero sense, the more I thought of it. Depending on where you live, you might have gone to bed, woken up the next morning, and somehow you've missed everything. Films that are released on streaming services have a bad reputation, mainly due to the amount of slop Netflix releases, and War of the Worlds does nothing to improve the reputation of streaming movies. However, this film wasn't released by Netflix. Instead, this was an Amazon Prime release, which should be absolutely no surprise to anybody who watches the film, due to the constant Amazon references. There are entire sequences dedicated to Amazon and their impressive delivery service, and it's only with the use of Amazon that they're able to combat the aliens and save the world. It's utterly shameless, and yet another reason why I couldn't help but laugh at the film. Timur Bekmambetov, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is the lead producer on the film, and he has extensive experience in producing screenlight films, so you would think that they'd be able to use the format in a smart way that actually enhances the experience. However, that is simply not the case. It's sloppily done throughout, and does nothing but hold back the film. It just feels forced, and not in any way realistic to the characters and the situation. This is the perfect example of how not to do this format. I do appreciate that the film was made during the COVID pandemic, when it was really difficult to work in the film industry, and this format allowed for smaller crews. But if you can't do it well, then frankly, there's no point in doing it. It's not like I paid for a ticket to watch War of the Worlds, and if I'm being honest, I wasn't even using my own Amazon Prime account, but I still feel ripped off. Time is precious, and I'll never get that back. So unsurprisingly, I cannot recommend War of the Worlds. It gets 2 thumbs down from me, as it's definitely not worth watching, unless you just want to laugh at it. So, What did you think of War of the Worlds? And is it the worst film you've seen all year? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.